The grand iron gates of the Wellington estate creaked in the wind like a mournful sigh. Inside the mansion, silence stretched through the halls. The kind of silence that wasn't peaceful but heavy. The kind that comes after loss. 3 months had passed since Sophia Wellington's sudden death. Pneumonia, the doctors said. One day she was laughing in the garden with baby Lily in her arms. Next, gone. Her husband, Marcus Wellington, one of the richest men in the city, now moved through the mansion like a ghost. He buried himself in work, signing papers without reading them, staring at computer screens until his eyes burned. Anything to avoid the nursery. Anything to avoid seeing his wife's eyes looking back at him in his daughter's face. And baby Lily. She cried. Oh, how she cried. The nannies came and went, each one quitting faster than the last. She won't take the bottle, they'd say, handing the screaming infant to the next unfortunate soul. She hasn't eaten properly since her mother died. No one knew what to do. Until Sarah Johnson walked in. Sarah was the new maid, quiet, efficient, always with a sad smile that didn't quite reach her eyes. What no one knew was that Sarah carried her own unbearable grief. Just weeks before taking this job, she had buried her newborn son, Jamal. Her arms still ached to hold him. Her body, cruel in its persistence, still produced milk for a baby who would never drink. That afternoon, Sarah was polishing the grand staircase when she heard it, the sound that would change everything. From upstairs came weak, rasping cries. Not the angry screams of a frustrated baby, but the desperate whimpers of a child fading away. Sarah's feet moved before her mind could catch up. She found Lily alone in the nursery, her tiny face blotchy and red, her little fists waving weakly. The latest nanny had quit. The bottle lay abandoned on the dresser, still full. Sarah's heart cracked open. She knew this cry. It wasn't just hunger. It was grief. The kind only a motherless child could know. And suddenly, Sarah was back in that hospital room, holding her own lifeless baby, her body betraying her with milk that had no one to feed. Her hands trembled as she lifted Lily from the crib. "I know, sweet girl," she whispered, tears falling onto the baby's forehead. "I know." She glanced at the door. Then, with shaking fingers, she unbuttoned her uniform. The moment Lily latched on, the whole world seemed to hold its breath. Sarah gasped as the baby's weak sucking grew stronger, those tiny fingers curling against her skin like little vines seeking sunlight. Lily's cries melted into soft, contented gulps, the first real nourishment she'd had in days. Tears streamed down Sarah's face as she stroked the baby's damp curls. "That's it, precious girl," she whispered. "You're safe now." But they weren't safe. A shadow filled the doorway. What in God's name? Sarah's head snapped up. Marcus Wellington stood frozen, his tailored suit immaculate, his face a storm of shock and fury. The billionaire who'd barely glanced at his daughter in weeks now saw everything. For one terrible second no one moved. Lily kept nursing, oblivious to the earthquake about to hit. Then Marcus exploded. "Get your hands off my child." His voice shook the nursery walls. Sarah instinctively curled around Lily. She was starving. "You think that gives you the right?" Marcus loomed over them, his breath coming fast. "I come home to find my maid breastfeeding my daughter like some. She was dying." Sarah's voice broke. "Look at her." And Marcus did. Really looked. His anger faltered. Lily's cheeks, always pale since Sophia's death, now glowed pink. Her tiny body, usually tense with hunger, lay relaxed in Sarah's arms. For the first time in months, his daughter looked peaceful. Sarah took a shuddering breath. "I lost my son 3 months ago. My body. It still makes milk." She met Marcus's eyes. "When I heard her crying like that, I couldn't let another mother's child suffer when I could help." Marcus staggered back as if struck. The nursery clock ticked loudly. Somewhere downstairs, a phone rang unanswered. Finally Marcus spoke, his voice raw. "My office. When she's finished." As his footsteps faded, Sarah pressed her lips to Lily's forehead. She'd expected to be fired. Arrested maybe. But that look in Marcus's eyes just now. That wasn't anger anymore. That was the first crack in the dam. The grandfather clock in Marcus's study ticked louder than a bomb. Sarah sat stiffly on the leather chair, freshly fed Lily sleeping against her chest. Every nerve in her body screamed to run. Across the mahogany desk, Marcus stared at the family photo behind her, Sophia glowing with newborn Lily in her arms. "I should fire you." His voice was hollow. Sarah's throat tightened. "I understand, sir. You violated every boundary." "Yes. Put my daughter at risk." "No." The word burst out before she could stop it. Sarah's arms curled protectively around Lily. "I would never. My milk is clean, I'm healthy, Marcus held up a hand. Silence fell again. Then came the whisper that changed everything. "She stopped crying." Sarah blinked. "What?" "For 3 months, that child has screamed like her heart was breaking." Marcus's eyes glistened. "Today, for the first time since her mother died." She stopped. A tear splashed onto Lily's blanket. Sarah realized with shock it wasn't hers. Marcus Wellington was crying. "Stay." The word hung between them. Not as staff. As family. 1 year later, the Wellington estate buzzed with unfamiliar sounds. Giggles echoing down the halls, lullabies floating through open windows, the happy squeals of a toddler taking her first steps. On the sun-dappled patio, Sarah rocked a babbling Lily, now a healthy 1-year-old with cheeks like ripe peaches. Marcus stood in the doorway, his suit jacket abandoned, shirt sleeves rolled up to reveal the bottle he'd finally learned to prepare. "She asked for you," he said softly. "Said Mama saw this morning." Sarah's breath caught. That word Mama still sent lightning through her heart. Marcus sat beside them, his shoulder brushing Sarah's. Together they watched Lily clutch Sarah's finger with one hand, Marcus's with the other, a living bridge between their broken pasts and this unexpected future. The reporters had called it a scandal. The staff had whispered about betrayal. But here's the truth no headline captured. Sometimes family isn't blood. Sometimes it's the hand that feeds you when you're starving. The arms that hold you when your world ends. The heart that expands to make room for new love. And as the sunset painted them gold, a billionaire, a maid, and the baby that saved them both, the Wellington mansion finally earned its name. It was home. This story reminds us that love doesn't ask permission. It appears in the unlikeliest places: a grieving father's study, a maid's aching arms, a hungry baby's cry. If this touched your heart, hit like and subscribe. And tell me in the comments, have you ever found family where you least expected it? Until next time, remember to look for the broken hearts around you. You might just be the miracle they're waiting for.